We are live on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Surprise, surprise. We're all a little early today. My partner should be joining me here shortly. So we're gonna go old school with just me. For those that will be fortunate enough to be on with us a little early. So I will start to answer questions, but give me just a second here to make sure that I have all the proper links where people can access this week's Flippinar. So again, we appreciate everyone that's already here. Again, I'm a little early. So we go early. And then we're going to end a little early. So, but I want to get it in. I'm obligated, I feel obligated to do this every week. Really appreciate everyone that joins us every week. So again, I want to make sure that we got it in or not get it in at all. So we're going to just go a little early. So you all can start to load your questions on the 3 platforms. Probably won't be able to read anything from Instagram until Adria gets here. So just hang out. You know, you can still learn there, but on Facebook and YouTube, we should be in the game. So again, you can go ahead and start loading your questions. I don't even have my mic position here, so, but I want to go ahead and get this in with you guys. So just give me 1 second here. Let me make sure I got my Flippinar.com set up. But, and also, let me see how I'm going to answer these questions here. Okay, there we go. So let me see how I'm going to answer these questions here. All right, so where's my chat? I don't see my live chat here. Thought I would be, but okay. There we go. Okay, there we go. I can read my questions off my iPad here. So just give me another second, guys, and we'll be ready to rock for show number 45 on this week's Flippinar. Running solo here for a second until the ladies should be here. I sprung it on them a little earlier. Hey, can we go a little early today? And they said they could. So I'm sure they'll be here. So again, you can start loading your questions, and I'm going to try to get to them and answer them to the best of my ability. Okay, 1 second. All right, so got that. Boom. Then we got that. Boom, boom. All right. Okay, so we're ready to rock. So, don't see anything on Facebook. See what we got on YouTube here. Right, hello, Jay from Detroit. Mr. GG, Rhonda. Some of these I can't pronounce. We'll start with Jay. Says, what's a strategy to extend my contract due to not finding a buyer yet? Well, I keep that simple, man. I'll go back to a seller and ask for more time and they give it to me. Or I'll go back to a seller and ask for more time and they don't. So if they don't, they keep your earnest money, you move on and they move on. It's really that simple. All right. right. Not sure what the name is on YouTube, but it say how, I guess it means how do I put together a wholesale contract? Well, that's the bare bones of it, is putting together a wholesale contract. I'm really not sure what you mean in that sense, but if you're trying to download the contract that I offer for free on my actual site, which is flipman.net, you can get a copy of that site, for, that contract for free, but it also comes with an instructional video on how to fill it out for sellers and buyers. So just simply download the contract and follow the instructional video. All right. Not sure what the name is off of Facebook, off of YouTube, but the question is, hopefully you will read my question. Is it ever a good idea to tell a seller that you are a wholesaler straight out, just to avoid a lot of nonsense later? Well, you could if you wanted to, but I wouldn't advise it, because just like you're trying to understand, we got Avery on, understand wholesaling, and you have questions, you probably have already spent hours trying to learn what wholesaling is. Imagine trying to explain that to a seller in 5 minutes. They're not going to want to do business with you because they don't understand what you're talking about. And when people on the feel uncomfortable, especially within a business transaction, they normally going to walk away from it. So I would strongly advise you, don't try to ever explain it to them. You are a cash buyer. You buy as is. You close in 2 to 4 weeks. You pay all closing costs minus any unpaid taxes, mortgages, or liens. That's the only thing that's important. Because at the end of the day, the contract says you're going to buy it. Legally, you can assign that contract over to someone else. So it doesn't matter where the money comes from, as long as you perform. That's simple. Now, you take that however you want. It's not the business for you. Hey, there's all the opportunities out there. You ready to play, girl? Don't looking crazy. Unmute. Let me unmute you.
I'm muted. Yeah. I'm ready.
Okay. Well, yeah. Go ahead. Take over. Ooh.
You were doing fine.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I'm sure I was. I'm exhausted.
Already. Okay. So, what question did you read?
I read it from SESHTA.
On YouTube. Okay.
Yeah, on YouTube. Yeah.
Cool beans. Hi, everybody. Sorry, I'm a little bit late. Let's see here. Dominique Hedge is sticking with YouTube. Wants to know, do you do lots of outbound calling?
Recently, yes. I go about it a couple of different ways, but to answer your question, recently, yes. I don't personally do it. I actually pay my sister to do it. So to answer your question, yes.
Okay, let's see here. Yes, Paul on Facebook. You're early. Yeah, a little early for me too, Chris and Tracy. Okay, so on Facebook, Dominique has a question.
I thought that was the same person, wasn't it?
Actually, is it? Wow. But Dominique's question on Facebook is when you first,
He's smart. They don't get his question.
Double question. I see what you did there, Dominique. Okay, you got me. When you first started out, how did you sort your daily tasks from 8 to 10, drive for dollars, 10 to 12 cold calls, then later place bandit signs? Or was it more of each day of the week an assigned task?
When I first started out, I only did bandit signs. So it really wasn't a task thing for me. I encourage anyone that can be organized to be organized. You know, it can streamline your business and make it easy for you to duplicate it. I struggle with that. That's why I know anybody can do this. As unorganized as I am, if I can close deals, anyone can. So, but I only was doing bandit signs, so it really wasn't too much organization as far as my different forms of marketing, because that's all I was doing. So I think that answers that question.
Mr. Smith on YouTube wants to know, do you think it's worth working with an agent who has a listed property for a motivated seller?
Well, yeah, if you understand how to deal with agents, understand dealing with agents. Number one, the agent is trying to make money also. And the more they sell a property for it, because they're on commission, the more they make. So naturally, that automatically puts them not in your favor for that reason alone. Now, they'll say, I'm professional, I want to get the best deal for my client and all that. Okay, all right, that sounds good. But dealing with an agent, you still can do deals there, but understand that they're going to want $1,000 earnest money in most cases. They're going to want proof of funds. So if you could jump through those hurdles, which there are, I guess, some ways to do it, then so be it. But agents always, what an agent calls a motivated seller is normally not what you call a motivated seller. It's just they normally don't work the same. So, okay, my girl, she's ready to get in here. All right.
Yay, Renikia is coming. That's what we're talking about, right?
We are live, Ms. Williams.
Okay. Yes. Super excited to be back.
Giving
you a little early today, but I've been trying to work it out.
Hey, take over.
Oh, I'm so excited to be back. Y'all don't know. Y'all don't even understand. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hello, Adrian.
Okay, so you ready to jump right on in? I was okay. I'm just gonna start the questions. If any of you guys are new, that's Ty. I'm Adrian. That's Miss Renikia Williams. She does us a wonderful +1 of being here and answering questions for us. She's awesome at everything dealing with real estate. So most definitely ask those questions. So we're gonna continue on. On YouTube, Mr. GG wants to know, have you dealt with a situation where your competition tried to hate on you and take your bandit signs down behind your back? And how do you handle those situations?
Absolutely. It's a dog eat dog world out here. Like literally the wholesale game is rough. Like seriously. So it comes with the business. I mean, competition is competition. I would say just continue to check on you. I mean, unless you know who's pulling up your bandit signs. I mean, one thing up too, especially if they're still up by Monday, the city picks them up. So it's really just stand on top. I mean, there's no way to work around the hate. I mean, that comes with the territory. There's no way of working around the competition, but just continue to go back and make sure your marketing signs is out there. But it comes with the territory. People, as a wholesaler, people will go around you on your deals. I mean, especially when people understand how to skip trace and contact the wholesaler. I mean, contact the seller directly. They'll try to go around you every time. So understand and know who are you dealing with, especially when you send your information. When you put a property under contract, know who you sending it out to, because wholesalers will try to go around you, literally. So and make sure that your properties are under contract as well, because when they try to go around you, at least you have your contract in place.
Okay. On YouTube, Z-Walk wants to know, what happens if the seller wants to keep the contract before signing it to look over it with an attorney?
That's fine.
That's fine. They should.
No problem. Yeah. That happens. I mean, if they want to look over the contract, that's fine. Have them look over the contract. It's really not a problem.
Okay. Renikia, this question most definitely specific for you on YouTube. I can't even scroll down. The question was, what motivates you? It says, Nikki, you're such a just gave you a nickname. Okay. You're such a powerhouse. What motivates you?
Honestly, I believe this is my purpose. And when you're walking in your purpose, it motivates you on your own, because it's just something inside of you. Is the fire inside of you to want to go accomplish and manifest your dreams into reality. So I encourage everybody to never chase a check. A lot of people get into real estate because they feel that is money and this, that, and the third. But just make sure you're walking in something in your purpose. And when you are, even when you don't make money, it still gets you up the next day because you love what you do. So that really what motivates me, is that I love what I do. So I encourage everybody else to find something that you love and allow real estate. Even if real estate is not what you love, real estate is a vehicle for financial freedom. So you can free yourself to go out and do what you really, really love. So I encourage everyone to find that. So.
All right. Ty, Lionel White said, what's up? Hi, Lionel.
What's happening, man?
Says, when can I be on the, I think it's supposed to be show. And hello, Mike Alicia. I see you. He says hello to you, Renikia, as well. Let's see here. Hello. Standard Investing wants to know, what do you think about having a memorandum of contract submitted to the title company to tie up the title so no one can come behind your back and buy the property?
When you get a contract, when you get a property on the contract, you can put a lien. Like if you feel that someone's trying to go around you, you can actually put a lien against the property directly correlated to the contract that you have and the profits that you're going to make. And once they try to go and sell it, that lien will come up on that lien would cloud the title, and it would come up before they can sell it. They would have to satisfy that lien, which is an extra step. But
okay. On Facebook, ZJ has a question, and Ty, they said just because Renikia came, don't go to sleep. Mm-hmm.
I got it, Ty.
ZJ on Facebook says, can this method work in markets like Austin, Texas, or should you start in small cities surrounding large cities?
Hell no. Yeah. Of course. Since I'm sure that I'm awake. Why wouldn't it work in Austin, Texas? If people live there, as long as I normally respond to that, as long as houses are not free, it works anywhere. Now, obviously, the bigger the city, the more opportunity is going to exist. A smaller town or whatever, the less opportunity is going to exist. But as long as people get divorced, die, income loss, job loss, tired landlords, relocation, medical bills, tuition for college and non-college students, those are just life situations that create motivated sellers. Your job is to make sure you're doing an effective job of letting them people know that you exist, and the numbers will take over. You'll do deals. And that's through marketing and advertising. Hey, I buy houses.
All right. Ty on Instagram, Copeland says, long time, sir. What's up? Mm-hmm. From, I don't know who that is. Okay. But that's all right. Sticking with it, let's see here. David Flores on YouTube wants to know, how do I find a vacant homeowner? When finding them, how do I approach them? And if I can knock on the door, how would I start the conversation? If I have to call, how would I start the conversation? Wow, that's like 5 questions, but okay.
That's a really good question, though. And so if you find a vacant house, there's multiple things you can do, but the number one thing is write the address down. Go to the county record that the house sits in and find the property on the county records. Write down the mailing address that's on the county records of that house. If the mailing address is different from the house address, that's most likely updated to a point where you can either send out a yellow letter and let them know that you're interested in purchasing their property. Another way is skip tracing, which I feel is faster, because as long as I can get you on the phone, I can talk to you, I can close you, or I can at least get closer to buying the property. So I do a lot of skip tracing. And skip tracing is basically like a people finder software where they find the people. So you're able to put the information in there and they'll spit out their information. They'll spit out like, you know, all their contacts, numbers, other family members and all that information. You will call them and ask them if they were interested in selling their property. So if I was on the phone or if I was in front of somebody, I'd probably have the same conversation. But of course, you know, nothing is really straight by the script. But how I approach investors or approach sellers, I say, hey, I'm a seasoned investor in the area. We have purchased a lot of properties in these areas and we're super interested in your property. So we wanted to see if you was interested in selling.
All right.
So that's pretty much, and from there you just let the conversation go, and kind of feed off on what they say, and never speak numbers. The person who speak numbers will always lose first, because you thinking, oh, I pay up to $50,000 for this property. She thinking it's a piece of junk, and she'll take 15 to 20. So always make the seller tell you what they want, and still give a lower price than what they want. So at the end of the day, even though you thinking 50,000, she thinking 20, you're still gonna look around and look at the property. If you're in their face and say, you know, it do need a lot of work. I think I can give you 20. Let me bring my contractors in. So make it seem like even 20 is too much. And you want to offer 15 or something like that. But if she can sign that contract right now, you'll give her the full 20. So allow them to speak numbers before you speak numbers. And you always never speak numbers before you walk through the property and estimate the repairs.
All right.
I don't know, Ty got another way of approaching vacant houses?
Nah, you know, yeah, what you said there, exactly. The first goal is to find them. Second goal is to make contact with, and hopefully they want to sell it. If they want to sell it, then it just goes to where your negotiation skills are. As you said, ideally you want them to give you a price, you know, their least amount. Because if you just start throwing out numbers, not that you're being greedy or whatever, but you know, the worst, I hate when I do this, and sometimes it happens, but normally I'll offer something low enough it's going to work regardless. But I say 50,000. They say, okay, we can do that. Oh wow, that means they would probably have went less. You know what I'm saying? Before I can even get it out, they're like, yeah, that works. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, but that's the business though. But ideally, you're trying to get them to give you your least amount. So sometimes that can be the conflict, but you know, so we're going backwards here, man.
Mm-hmm. All right. On Instagram, Dominique Bellamy says, I made $26K from a wholesale deal from watching you. Thanks, Flipman. Dominique, way to go. Reach out.
Hit me up if you want to do an interview, Playboy.
Yeah, if you want to do an interview, reach out to Ty, flipman.net. Let us know what happened there. We would love for you to share that. Get you a video posted up about that deal. What are you doing, Ty?
I don't know, man.
Whatever you doing, stop.
Is that better? Whoa. Oh, I'm sorry. That better?
No.
That better?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Stop playing with stuff. Go to sleep.
I hooked the wrong thing up. I can't believe they would hear me. But we're good.
Yeah. Okay. So on YouTube, Off-Roader has a question. Hey, Off-Roader. He says he had a guy who wants to sell his house. It had a fire, and he needs to sell to get the escrow money. Is that considered a lien?
What? He has a home that he's trying to purchase that had a fire?
A guy is trying to sell his house that had a fire, and he says that he needs to get the escrow money. Is that considered a lien?
No, escrow money is money that is put into a bank or into someone's account to just sit there until you close or until you need it or something of that nature. I'm not for sure why they I don't know what his reason of needing escrow money. So it's kind of a confusing question.
Okay, off-roader. So if you're listening, clear that up a little bit. I know you said the seller needs to sell to get the escrow money. Just give us a little bit more information on that one. And Ty, as far as Dominique, he says he would like to do an interview with you. Check your inbox. He sent you a copy of the check as proof.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, just hit me up. Text me, man. Text me. We'll set it up.
Sticking with Instagram, Chamberlain Marie says it's hard to find motivated sellers in Northern California for the amount of $50,000.
No. You can't go by what, like, if Renika throws out an amount and I throw out an amount of deal. You have to understand, we're in different markets. Out in California, we'll just say, you got A, B, C, and D neighborhoods. A D would be the lowest priced area, and the A would be the highest price, just to give you some type of measuring stick there. But if your D neighborhood, if that's 200 grand, 250, that's what it is. Whereas my D neighborhood may be 70 grand, that's what it is. But it's still relative that if you can get that $250,000 property that has an ARV of $250,000 for $125, it's still the same thing. The only difference is your checks are going to probably be a lot bigger than what we're accustomed to in those same type of neighborhoods. But it's relative. Don't get caught up in the prices that we throw around. I always make this ridiculous analogy, but I'm probably saying the Empire State, but most people know what that is, I think. The Empire State Building is probably worth $1 billion. If I can get it for $500 million, I'm confident I could wholesale it in 10 days and probably make $100 million, maybe possibly $200 million. So it's all relative. A deal is a deal, So, what you think, Renika?
Right. No, yeah, you're absolutely right. Then your numbers are directly correlated to your market, or the market that you're looking into. So you have to figure out what is your market. Every market is different. And like Todd said, every market is different, but numbers is always directly correlated to the market of where the house sits.
Yeah, if houses in those similar type neighborhoods, like in Atlanta or in Birmingham and out in LA, if they're similar neighborhoods, the reason that the houses are those prices is because people can afford to pay that. It's just simple supply and demand. It's just not automatically higher because of whatever. It's because people have shown that they can pay those prices in that type of neighborhood consistently, to even be able to sell properties at those prices. So it's all, like you said, it's all relative. It's just all relative.
Right. And it doesn't even matter about the numbers. The numbers really don't matter, but as a whole, it does. So if I can get a $250,000 house that is really in California, that is really worth $600,000, then it's the same deal if I'm getting a $20,000 house that's really worth $150,000. So at the end of the day, it's just about the numbers that's directly correlated in your market. But at the same time, the overall way that you evaluate the numbers is the same, no matter what market you're in. You looking for the purchase price, you looking for how much it's going to cost to rehab it, and you looking for the after repair value. Those three numbers right there is really the most important three numbers. I don't care what market you in. It's the most important three numbers to evaluate a real estate deal.
All right. Back to that question from Off-Roader in regards to the firehouse and the escrow. He says the gentleman wants to sell the property. He just wanted to know if the money the insurance company has in escrow will affect the closing, and does he have to offer that amount?
Oh, actually, I feel that he needs to work out his insurance claim first before he sell it. So once because I just wholesaled a property that had fire damage, and literally by the time she got to me, she had already got her insurance money. She had already got the money that insurance company cut for that property. So when she sold it to me, that was additional money on top of the insurance money. So that's really an insurance question. I'm not for sure how that works with the right before they actually cut the check to go to the actual seller. But I know if I were them, I would want to clear that insurance up before I sell the property. So what you could do is just put it on the contract contingent upon when he's ready to sell it.
All right, thank you. He says for answering that. You're welcome, off brother. On Facebook, Nicholas Brand wants to know, does the title need to be ran immediately after you get the house under contract?
The title, well, it really depends. So if you start running title before you have an end buyer, you're gonna get yourself a bill. So really, you don't want to do that. The attorney will be like, "Hey, I need that $500." So you really want to wait till you secure the whole deal and send both if you wholesaling, send the AB contract and the BC contract to the attorney. But I wouldn't necessarily start working on the title until I have my end buyer secured.
All right, Sen Nicole, hopefully that answered your question there. We've mentioned skip tracing quite a bit, and I see maybe 2 or 3 comments in regards to, can you suggest a skip tracing service?
People search, Less is Nessus. Those are a couple ones that I use. But it's really any software or website that allows you to pretty much locate people. Locate Plus, I think, is one as well.
Intellus, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Louis Vargas on YouTube wants to know, in an assignment, is it possible to get around from the seller seeing what your assignment fee will be?
Yeah, absolutely. So how I like to put together my wholesale deals is that I don't use the assignment contract. That's when in bold letters at the top of it say assignment contract, and you have to show the end buyer what you are making on the deal. For some reason, when people start kind of knowing what you're making, they start picking your pockets. And a lot of times, if your end buyer don't really know what you're doing because you position yourself as the buyer, a lot of times you cut yourself out of deal if they know that you really doesn't have this deal in the contract. So what I like to do is 2 purchase and sales agreement, both of them having the assignment clause in it, which really allows me to assign it, but it doesn't make me have to tell you what my assignment fee is.
Okay. Deborah from Cali, hello. Glad you were able to jump on live. And Roosevelt Worley, hi to you as well. Let's see here. Michael Carter wants to know, this is a good question. I'm guilty of this. He wants to know, do you answer the phone from your bandit signs or do you let it go to voicemail? Which one do you prefer?
Answer, because whoever calling your bandit signs is a buyer or seller. I say this all the time. No one is calling a 2 man in a truck sign because they're trying to buy a house. They're looking for 2 men in a truck. So every time someone calls your sign is because they have either a house for sale or they're a buyer. So you want to always answer your calls, but you want to vet it because sometimes it'll be the police trying to meet you and give you a fine. So you want to kind of vet the call at the same time. If it sounds like the police, things of that nature, or whatever the case may be. But always answer. I mean, I think being personable will definitely get you closer to the deal.
And to add to that, you answer because you're not the only one doing this, right?
Right.
People, I'm not hating on them. A lot of ways to do this business, but they'll tell you at the seminars, automate everything. Let it go to this and let it go to this. And okay, they do that to make it sound
okay. Okay.
They do that to try to make it sound easy so you can pull out that credit card or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But in reality, you got to think about it now. You're not the only one out here doing that. So now you can't answer it all the time. It just probably ain't possible. but you need to try to be calling them back as soon as possible or whatever, because you'll miss some calls or whatever. But you're not the only one doing it. The other reason is even if you have to call them back, sometimes it's hard to get people back on the phone or whatever. And at the end of the day, even if you have it going to an assistant or a VA or whatever, if this is your business and you could get to the point where you are that busy or where you can, and you got a lot going on or whatever, but you need to have somebody on that phone, in my opinion, that really care about the business, because building rapport with a seller, it may not pay off today, but because you actually sit there and listen to them, what they had going on with their house, the price that they originally gave you may not work today, but because you actually showed them that you cared about what they had to say, they'll call you back 6 months from now when they do want to sell at a price that works for you or whatever. So in my opinion, it's very important to answer the phone, or someone that cares about the business to answer the phone. Let me just say that.
Okay, good answer. And just so you guys know, I feel like I'm a part of the club. I got my first state call the other day.
Ooh.
Wow.
The sheriff's office.
Your first what?
My signs.
What do you say?
Somebody called your sign?
Yeah, but they want the voicemail.
How did that go? How did that conversation go?
I didn't answer. I knew that looked like a local, you know, let's see here. It says, I'll read it to you. This is Reginald, last name, whatever. I work with the city of, I'm calling concerning some signs of being placed along the right of way within the city. If you would please give me a call back. I ain't calling you back.
Oh, that sounds like a city official. Exactly. See?
No.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Exactly. That's why you connect your Google number or something like that, because it's not, and your name is connected to your phone, then they can locate you if they really, really want to locate you. So
yeah, don't know what they're talking about at all. Okay, so let's see. David has a question. He says, "Hey folks, how do you wholesale a commercial property that's only the size of a one-story, 1,800 square foot house, but is zoned as commercial? How do you find buyers for that?" So maybe a house that's zoned commercial. How does that process work?
It works the same way. So I'll put it like this: only a deal is a deal. So if it's a deal, you can find a seller for it. So looking at that project before you put in the contract, you have to know the numbers, because you could be putting in the contract outside of the true value of the property too. So as long as you understand those numbers, making sure that you put it on the contract at the right place, making sure that there is some equity in there, and somebody would maybe want to purchase it. But finding commercial finding commercial prospects or commercial buyers is the same way that you find residential. However, most commercial buyers are not the ones that's in the neighborhoods that you're probably putting the bandit signs up at. So to me, these are people you're going to meet in certain events, you know, at certain places. There's a lot of online clubs and membership opportunities. Okay. There's a lot of online like real estate investor websites and things of that nature, where you plug yourself into those websites and see who's looking to purchase real estate in your area, and begin to post to the mass of people who's looking for commercial deals. But I would honestly say it does take time to find those commercial buyers. But what you want to ask every buyer, because everybody has a network. So everybody I come into contact with allows me to tap into their network. So when I find a buyer, someone contact my sign, I always, if you have this commercial deal, hey, I also have this commercial deal. Do you know anybody that want to sell, purchase a commercial property? So everyone, you begin to ask every seller and every buyer the same question, because the seller is a buyer and the buyer is a seller. And everyone has a network of people. But just to me, it's networking. What do you think, Ty?
Yeah, on that commercial property, if it's a house, you know, sometimes you'll see houses and they'll be commercially zoned for whatever reason. There may be some other houses that are right next door across the street that are not. So depending on what else is around it will determine how you should approach it as far as value. Now, if there's other houses around this so happen to be zoned commercial, I'm going to treat it as a house or whatever. That as far as my pricing on it. Now it's a house, and sometimes you'll see a house on a main drag where all commercial is around, and you have to treat it that way. But understand, at the end of the day, it's going to depend on how cheap you can get it. With commercial, you know, what's the end game? Because there's so many different, obviously, let me back up. You have to figure out what type of commercial zoning does it have? Is it retail? Is it industrial? You know, it goes on a different type of commercial zoning, with that'll factor in too on the value of it. But just because it's a vacant commercial building doesn't mean that you can make money on it, because there's tons of vacant commercial buildings that really have no value or whatever. So it just depends on what else is going on around it. Because at the end of the day, an investor is going to look at what's the end game or how I can actually make money off this property. So, you know, it's a lot more speculation in commercial than it is with houses. You know, houses just cut and dry. What other houses have sold for? That's it. That's the only thing you have to worry about. Whatever other houses sold for in that area, similar size, within a certain time frame, that's it. With commercial, it can just go in so many directions depending on what it's zoned for, the lot size, the building conditioning, what else is going on around it, traffic count, population within that particular demographic, income within that demographic. You know, it just goes on and on.
All right.
And then just answer your question, how do you do it? It's the same. The paperwork is the same like you do in a residential, except it'll be a commercial purchase and sales agreement, and you'll get two purchase and sales agreement, A, B, B, C, and flip them out to them. But the thing about it is the earnest money is a lot higher as well. So make sure you can have your earnest money, and make sure you have your end buyer in place who's going to put that earnest money up.
All right. Get a Bar has a quick question. How do I respond when people ask me, how do you get my number when I'm calling probate? Isn't it as simple as saying, hey, that's public information?
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. Get a Bar, just keep it simple. It's public.
It's public information, and this is what my job is to find people who are actually selling their property. So.
All right. Just because Eric is my favorite movie quote finder, he says, what's up, Ty the Flips? Good day, AAA, and the Rennie Nika. He just gave everybody some nicknames, is what he said. Mm-hmm. Right. Wow. Okay, guys, I know we started early today, but we're also ending early. Totally apologize. You know, we do have personal lives and we have things going on. So I know I didn't get to a lot of questions today, and I apologize. And next week when we come back on Thursday, as always, we will roll over just a little bit longer to try to pick up some of these. So I appreciate Ty being here as always, Mr. Renikia being here. I'm here, you know, so guys, we're going to end this now. I know we were only here for 30 minutes, but we're going to end this with the quote that Ms. Renikia gave us, and it makes so much sense. And beyond our getting Gator and getting you a check, what I need you to remember is never speak numbers before walking the property. That's our tidbit gold nugget of the day. Never speak numbers before walking the property. Ty, you got anything to say before we go?
Yeah, if they have any the questions when this video goes live on YouTube here in the next 10 minutes or so, just post your questions there, and I'll be happy to answer them. But we're gonna get out of here. Thanks, Renikia. Thanks, Adria.
Thank you. See y'all next Thursday.
See y'all next week, guys. Bye.